Hi, welcome back to the channel. My name's Sean, and in this video I'll be going through the repairs on this King Kutter 6-foot brush hog I recently picked up. Just needs a few things to be ready for the field, so let's get to it. Okay, so just a quick overview on this brush hog. Just picked this up from an auction for $200. Not in perfect shape, but still very good compared to what I have been using for a brush hog. So the stump jumper and the blades were on top of it like this. It was missing the wheel in the back, and I do have the PTO here, so that's just over there. Took that off for transport. So overall, in really good condition. I mean, you can see where the blades were hitting the top here, so I assume that's why they ended up taking off the stump jumper. So recently just picked up a new stump jumper and 2 new blades for this, just to try to keep it nice. So basically when I put that on, it'll be, you know, hopefully a nice, good cutting brush hog. So I have some new hardware, and just to do some general maintenance, I've already greased the U-joint on the PTO and should be pretty good to go. So let's get this thing jacked up and we'll try to get that new stump jumper and these blades on. Okay, so what do we have under here? We have our PTO shaft coming out of there. Or, sorry, our gearbox shaft. Looks like we have plenty of splines left on there, so not too bad. A little bit of grass buildup, so we might have a small oil leak, but we'll check that before we get it all, put it back together. So, okay, pretty straightforward. Let's get this these blades on the stump jumper, and we'll try to get this thing up here. Okay, so this was a 12 spline stump jumper. So just counted that from either that or the inside of this old stump jumper. But getting rid of that, going with this nice new one. And we have some 4-inch blades, 27 3/4 long, I think. And some new hardware. So let's get this on here. So there's a small keyway in the stump jumper. There's a small keyway in our hardware. So kind of just keeps everything locked together. Through there and on to our stump jumper. Just get this started on here. And even though this has a locking washer, I'm still gonna put a little dab of Loctite on it. Oops, did I put that on upside down? No, good, okay. Yeah, so these angling's slightly down. So just get a little dab of red Loctite, never hurt anybody. Get these installed. Okay, that one's good. Okay, nice and tight. All right, so now we should both still spin freely. Oh no, I kind of overlapped them at tighten them down. That's a bummer. So locked myself in here, so I'm gonna take these one loose and get it to flip over top the other one. Oops. Yeah, they were like, when I had it like this, they were tightened down and locked in, but all right, that should be better. Okay. Whew. Third time's the charm, I guess. Just have to get it up here and still be able to get the nut on. That's the hard part. Okay, well, I couldn't get it to line up underneath there, so I think the next bet is just to try to flip this thing all the way over, or at least up mostly on its side, so I can try to get this thing on here better. It's like somewhat lined up, it just doesn't want to go. So it's gonna probably fall off when I lift this up. Just stand back for a second, because this might. Okay. You mind just like balancing this here for a second while I just take a look at that and see why it's not? Just don't let it crush you.
I could do that.
Okay.
We mean it's not lining up.
Well, it's the shaft in there is. The shaft in here has 12 splines on it, like your PTO shaft. You all right? See how it's got splines? It has to line up with this, like perfectly.
Oh, I got you.
I just could not do that with the jack. It's like hard to see. Probably should have put these blades on second, but it's just easier to tighten them. Oh, got something going there. I think I got it. You got it for a second?
Oh, yeah.
It slid on a lot farther than it did before. So I might be able to drive it on with this nut.
Oh, you got
Oh,
something
yeah. That's got it. I just needed to see what I was doing. Should have marked it before I started. Oh, I see it now. One more turn or so. Okay, well, that made it a lot easier being able to see it. If we had the skid steer running, would have been a lot easier to flip this over, but we're doing the cylinder on that. But this was the nut we were trying to get on here, so the 12 splines had to line up perfectly, and then that nut could drive it on. But luckily my dad was here just in time to hold this brush hog up for us. So, all right, let's get this thing set down, and should be good to go. I'll take it, thank you.
You got it?
Yep, I got it, thanks. All right. Ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so now that that worked out well, the next thing to do, I'm just going to check the oil in this just to make sure there's something. So you have your fill plug here, and it looks like there's a drain or a level plug back here, about halfway up. So pop this fill plug off, and we'll see what it looks like. Plenty of fluid in there. Looks a little milky, but it is fluid, so maybe we'll top that off with some gear oil. That's moving, but man, is that tight. There we go, making some progress now. Oh, actually, this looks really good still. Not really watery at all. Plenty of life left. Get you back in there. Seemed a little over full, but I don't think that's too big of a deal. Okay. All right, next step, there's this bolt here holding on our PTO, and this should really be a shear pin. So, you know, ideally you break this pin or this bolt rather than breaking the gearbox. So this thing's in here pretty good. Let's get this one out of here, and we'll look into getting an actual shear pin in here. Hitting anything else important? Oh, yeah, well, need a wedge for that. So the last thing we have to do here is scavenge a tire off of this brush hog here. So this thing has been parts brush hog for a little while. It's seen its final days here, so not really worth doing much more cutting, but let's see if we can get this apart. I don't know. This bolt, it's bent pretty good, so I don't know. I finally actually hit one pretty good. Oh, okay, got it. Easy enough. I think it should be okay. Okay, come on. Oh, now it's like slightly a different diameter. Okay, so looking at this shaft, we are at roughly 1.345. It's actually about 1.355 at the bottom. Slightly narrower at the top. .38 at the very top. So I just measured my other brush hog, and it's also 1.38, and our hole is 1.31. So I really need a shaft about 1.3 max, but it's strange that I don't know. It's strange that these two brush hogs I have are roughly about the same, 1.37, 1.38, but this one is slightly smaller. So I don't know, maybe it's just a King Kutter thing, but I need to ask around. I might be able to find some more brush hog parts. So that'll be our next step, is to find that tire, and then we should be good to hook this thing up and actually give it a shot. So exciting, but definitely need to get that tire first. Well, the last thing we have to do on this brush hog is actually get a tail fork and a wheel for it. So unfortunately, my 2 scrap brush hogs, the shaft is like a 1/16 of an inch diameter, too large. This is the hole itself on the brush hog is 1.31 inches, which likely means it takes an 1.25 inch shaft. And this shaft and the one on my other brush hog, unfortunately, are .35. So I need to take off 0.10 of an inch to get this thing, or 0.05 of an inch radially at least, to get this thing to fit in this hole over here. So I could buy this for 30 bucks, but I'm just going to grind this down and make this one work. After roughly 30 minutes of grinding, we are good to go. Okay, well, that's it for this. Just need to go through and do some adjustments here, because obviously this shaft is way too long for this one. So probably need a spacer, because I'm on the ground now, which would be nice to have that level. So I could either drill a hole in the bottom here and use that as almost like a another Kutter pin or something to keep that in place, or I could take another scrap piece of pipe, cut it off, put like another sleeve in here and extend this piece. So, but either way, I need to shorten this swing up, because if it's on the ground, all it's going to do is push this up like this, and that'll be it. Now I have that seated all the way down on that fork, and we're probably only about 2 inches up off the ground back here. By the time I raise the front up, I think that'll be sitting pretty nice. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to, for eventually, not right now, because we're going to go work on some other stuff, but I'll drill a new hole here and put a washer and a Kutter pin in there, and we should be good to go. And of course, we'll grease it, and this brush hog should be ready for the field. So have one more field to brush hog now that the 10-footer's down, and we should be done for the year. So exciting, and hopefully this one will last a little bit longer than some of the other 5-footers I've had. But as you guys probably know, doing trails with these brush hogs, they don't last very long. It's pretty destructive on them. So all right, well, I will get that fixed up, and then we'll test this thing out and see how it looks. Well, I wasn't able to find an 1.25 inch inner diameter washer for this, so I think I'm just gonna make a big hole here for a grade 5 or a grade 8 bolt. That way I know it's not just gonna break off this little Kutter pin, and it'll give it something a little bit bigger to rest on. So just gonna torch it, we'll see. Hopefully I can blow a decent sized hole through this, maybe like 1/4 inch, 3/8, without completely blowing out this shaft here, but we'll see. All right, well, that was easy enough. So now I have probably a 1/4 inch to 3/8 inch hole here, and I can just clean it up with a drill bit. If you saw, I was trying to heat up that slag and blow away that slag just so it doesn't like stick to this shaft too much and doesn't come off later. So I'll get this drill bit and kind of just clean up this hole a little bit, and we should be good to go. Just put a bolt in there. Well, we finished up just in time. It just started raining pretty good, so I'm really happy with how this thing's cutting. We have a lot more to cut with it, so did just a few trails and a few passes on the hayfield, but I could definitely tell I need to move my wheel back to this hole to adjust it up, because being up off the ground that 2 to 3 inches really makes a big difference in the cut. It doesn't quite get as low as I'd like for it to, and the front is dragging on the ground, and it's almost like it's leaning forward slightly, so definitely going to fix that. But overall, I mean, it cut great, so no complaints here for I think what I had into it, about $300 or so in parts in the brush hog. Really not too bad for a 6-footer. So I'm gonna wrap this one up, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one.